What's going on, all you superhero fans out there? This is the Comic Hero Talk official podcast, episode number 3. Please enjoy. Hello and welcome to Comic Hero Talk. This is the official podcast, episode number 3. It's been a while since I did one of these. I'm Jacob Bartley, by the way, your host, and I'm here to talk about none other than superheroes. It's an exciting week for all of us geek fans as we have Star Wars Celebration coming up this weekend and then Comic-Con 2016 the next weekend. So there's going to be a whole bunch of news coming out. Star Wars Celebration, probably going to get a Rogue One trailer. Comic-Con, you're going to get a bunch of trailers and a bunch of new images and everything you can ask for as a geek superhero fan. And superheroes aren't just applied to comic book characters. They can be applied to Star Wars. If Jedis aren't superheroes, then what are they? And then Power Rangers. By the way, if you haven't listened to anything I've talked about on this YouTube channel, I mainly talk about Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and Power Rangers. I'm a huge Power Rangers fan, so I review a lot of their comics. I'm going to review the television show. I'm going to obviously talk about the movie news regarding the new film coming out next year in March. So yeah, just to give you a little bit of insight into what I'm all about if this is your first time watching. Now, I started this YouTube channel and I did the Comic Hero Talk official podcast twice, and then I stopped doing it for a while. And new listeners, it won't matter, but for a few of you who started listening to me from the beginning, you might be wondering why, and the answer to that question is I had a huge move. I moved into a new place, and as you can tell, I have a new background. If you take a look, pretty cool. I'm still working on it. I'm going to put some more Star Wars toys up there. I got a bunch of the Force Awakens toys. Maybe put a few pop figures and fill out this side of the wall with some more posters. But I just wanted to build a cool, creative looking background for when I do these videos and this podcast, because I don't want it to be boring. But anyways, just, that's a little house cleaning for you all. Now let's jump into what I'm going to talk about today. So for those of you, if this is your first time listening to the Comic Hero Talk official podcast, then you might have no idea how it's ran. So I talk about superhero movie news, then I go into TV news, and then I give a rundown of the comic books that I've read this week. So since I haven't done an episode in a while, there are a few things that I wanted to touch up on really quickly. I don't want to talk about old stuff for too long, but a few things that I missed while I was moving. Let's jump right into it. So a lot of you know a few weeks ago, all the outlets, the internet outlets, especially the geek-based ones, had some Justice League set visits, and a lot of information came out of that. Mainly that they're making a lighter tone film. Zack Snyder knows that the people who didn't like Batman v Superman had a problem with the very dark tone and the darkness of the film. So apparently they're making the film a lot lighter. An example of that, and this might be a potential spoilers for Justice League, so if you don't want to know anything, stop right now. But there's a scene apparently that people saw a rough cut of, and it had Batman recruiting the Flash, played by Ezra Miller, and obviously Batman, played by Ben Affleck. And apparently the scene has Bruce Wayne waiting in the Flash's apartment, just sitting on one of his sofas, and the Flash comes in. Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne is talking to him, and they're having this discussion about how the Flash needs to fight for the world, and then supposedly Bruce Wayne throws one of the batarangs at the Flash, and he hasn't exposed himself as a Flash yet, but Bruce Wayne already knows, and the Flash catches the batarang really quickly, and supposedly Batman says, so you're really fast, and then he says, so you're Batman. So something like that. I don't know how the full scene goes, but anyways, I'm excited for a lighter tone. I didn't mind the darkness of Batman v Superman. I actually really like Batman v Superman, especially the Ultimate Edition. You can look at my review on this YouTube channel. But I'm just excited overall that they're aware of the mistakes they made in the past and that they're making changes for the future. One more other thing regarding the Justice League is that we kind of know who the villain's going to be. And we know that it's not going to be Darkseid, that it's going to be Steppenwolf, however you pronounce it, and it's going to have to do with the mother boxes. So I'm excited about that because Darkseid would have been too big of a villain for the first Justice League movie. I say start small, then move on to Darkseid, similar like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing with Thanos. But you can go a little bit faster than they've been going. And also, if you haven't listened to my BVS Ultimate Edition review, I might touch on that a little bit. I really liked it. I think it's a far improvement from the original cut, but I don't think it's going to change anything. Like, the casual movie-going audience probably isn't going to even be aware or watch it. And if they do, then hey, good for them, and I'm glad that people got to see it. But overall, I love the Ultimate Edition, but I don't think it's never going to get rid of that stank that people had around the time that BVS came out. It's just not. The public perception is that BVS was a disappointment, and the Ultimate Edition is not going to change that. So, like I said earlier, I am a huge Power Rangers fan. Huge. It was my favorite show as a kid. I am rewatching the series as of now, and I'm going to review season 1, 2, and then 3 because those are Mighty Morphin. I'm probably not going to review anything after Mighty Morphin because that's when they started to get out of hand. But as far as Mighty Morphin goes, the Power Rangers, I loved it as a kid, and I'm rewatching it now, and I'm going to review season 1 halfway through because there's 60 episodes in season 1. I'm going to review episodes 1 through 30 in a part 1, and then part 2 will be episodes 31 through 60. But anyways, not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about some news regarding the new Power Rangers movie that comes out in March of 2017, and it has to do with some casting and a poster that came out for the movie a few weeks ago. So, some of you may have heard that Bryan Cranston, yes, Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston is going to play Zordon. Now, this is cool because he actually voiced some of the bad guys in the original series. And supposedly Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger, was named after having a similar name to Bryan Cranston. So that's pretty cool. But I am over the moon about Bryan Cranston playing Zordon. I was just wondering a few days before the news came out, who's going to play Zordon? And I'm a huge fan of Bryan Cranston. Breaking Bad is arguably my favorite drama on TV of all time. And I think he deserves to be a huge movie star, and he's working on that. He got an Oscar nomination with Trumbo. He's this Infiltrator movie coming out, looks amazing. He was in Godzilla. He's definitely moving into the mainstream and getting the recognition that he deserves. And I think it's so cool that he's willing to go back to something like Power Rangers. And I think it's a perfect casting for Zordon. I'm so looking forward to this movie. If you consider the director who directed Project Almanac, which I really liked, and then you consider the writers of X-Men First Class, the writers of the first Thor. You consider Elizabeth Banks, who's great, and she's playing Rita. Now you got Bryan Cranston playing Zordon. The only thing that brings fear to me is that maybe Saban. I love you, Saban, for bringing me the Power Rangers, but you had to put your name on the title, so it makes me worry how much creative control Saban has, but hopefully not too much. Now, along with Bryan Cranston getting cast, around the same time, this new poster came out. And it's basically, it's a shot of the sky with the stars, and it has the Power Rangers Lightning Bolt logo in stars. The shapes are in star. That shape is in stars. And in the middle it says, "Together we are more." And it has a car down with the sunset and 4 of the Power Rangers standing on the car and one of them off the car. I love this poster because of that Power Rangers logo in the stars. It's so awesome. So I want this poster on my wall. If I get my hands on it, it's going somewhere up there. So that's pretty much all the stuff I wanted to talk about that was from the past and stuff that came out weeks ago. And I just wanted to talk about it because it's stuff that was important to me, and they were going to go on my previous Comic Hero Talk official podcast, but didn't have any time with the big move. But I'll be getting back to this podcast for sure. And by the way, I also do a Comic Spoilers Talk podcast where I talk about all the comic books I read that week, and it's all spoilers. So go and check that out if you're a comic book reader. So moving on to some movie news that has came out this week, and that is one big thing that came out is the synopsis for Wonder Woman. I am so excited for Wonder Woman. It comes out next year, and I know we're going to get some cool stuff at Comic-Con in a couple weeks, and for some reason, they released the synopsis prior to Comic-Con, and this is how it reads. Wonder Woman hits movie theaters around the world next summer when Gal Gadot returns as the title character in the epic action adventure from director Patty Jenkins. Before she was Wonder Woman, she was Diana, Princess of the Amazons, trained to be an unconquerable warrior. Raised on a sheltered island paradise, when an American pilot crashes on their shores and tells of a massive conflict raging in the outside world, Diana leaves her home, convinced she could stop the threat. Fighting alongside man in a war to end all wars, Diana will discover her full powers and her true destiny. So it's a generic synopsis, and it's pretty much, we could have guessed this if you know anything about Wonder Woman and if you've been hearing the rumors about how the story's going to be, but I still like hearing this. Sounds so cool, especially with Chris, I was going to say Chris Pratt, but Chris Pine. He plays Captain Kirk in the Star Trek movies. He's playing Steve Trevor, the American soldier who's going to crash land in Themyscira, and I can't wait for this movie. I know Gal Gadot isn't a great actor, but I love the character in Batman v Superman, and working with the director like Patty Jenkins. Now, keep this in mind. Yeah, Gal Gadot's not a great actor, but you have Patty Jenkins, right? So Patty Jenkins, you might not know who she is, but she directed Charlize Theron in the movie Monster. And what did that result in? An Oscar win for Charlize Theron. So, you have a director like Patty Jenkins working with Gal Gadot. What more can you ask for? A director that has led an actress to an Academy Award working with an up-and-coming actress. I think that's great. She's also directed a few episodes of The Killing, which is one of the best crime dramas I've ever seen on TV. She's directed some of Entourage, which I love. So, I think Wonder Woman is in great hands, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, with Comic-Con coming up, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I'm really looking forward to with Comic-Con. Of course, there's a plethora of things. There's going to be so much TV and movie stuff going on, but I just want to talk about a few things that I'm really looking forward to. So, as you can tell by now, I'm a huge Power Rangers fan, and while Lionsgate, the company making the movie, is not going to have a full panel, they've announced that some of the cast will be there. So I'm guessing we're going to get a teaser trailer. And I'm going to lose my mind if we get a teaser trailer. Holy crap. I'm so excited for Power Rangers. Alright, calm down, Jacob. Calm down. Also, WB is obviously going to have a panel. I'm assuming the whole Suicide Squad cast is going to be there. They're going to come out with David Ayer. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope we get a Wonder Woman teaser. I think it comes out before Justice League. It comes out in the summer of next year. I'm going to predict we're going to get a Wonder Woman teaser, like a 20, 30-second teaser. And then also Justice League is going to be there. I don't think we're going to get a teaser, but maybe some more information about the movie, some of the castings and the characters, like side characters and stuff, because we already know all the main castings. And also, Marvel's coming back. They weren't at Comic-Con last year. So, obviously, they're going to have their TV and movie stuff. As far as the TV goes, I'm really looking forward to Luke Cage. That comes out. It comes out in September on Netflix. I love both seasons of Daredevil so far. I love Jessica Jones. So, they're 3 for 3 for me. And they're doing Luke Cage, which I really like. Mike Coulter, I believe is his name, on Jessica Jones. He was a supporting character on there. So, I'm really looking forward to that. Another thing that I think Marvel's going to have is definitely the second Doctor Strange trailer. They have to. The movie comes out in November, and we've only had a teaser trailer. I guarantee you there will be a Doctor Strange trailer number 2, and it's going to be badass. I might be wrong, but if I had to guarantee one thing at Comic-Con, it would be the next Doctor Strange trailer. And I'm hoping we get a Spider-Man teaser. Tom Holland starring in Spider-Man teaser. Spider-Man Homecoming. It's the next Marvel movie after Doctor Strange. Why not a small teaser? If not, a little bit of footage or maybe a poster or something from Spider-Man, as he is my favorite superhero, if you didn't know that. Alright, well that's going to do it for comic book movie news. I talked about some old stuff, some new stuff, and what I'm looking forward to in Comic-Con. Now, let's move on to the comic book TV news segment. And this is something that just came out today, but it's something that I'm really excited about, and that is WB released a few images of Kid Flash from the Flash TV show, played by Keenan Lonsdale. Obviously, we know he plays the Wally West, and spoilers for Season 2, of The Flash. If you have not watched it, spoilers, alright, you've been warned. So, there was an incident that happened where Barry was sent to the Speed Force and there was an explosion, and Wally West and Jessie, Dr. Wells' daughter, got hit with this flash, no pun intended, this Big Bang thing, and it was a hint towards them getting their powers. As you know, I believe she's Jessie Quick and he's Wally West, obviously, and we haven't seen them, we didn't see them with their powers at the end of Season 2, which I'm glad about, but I think we finally will in Season 3, and obviously they're putting out these images of Keenan Lonsdale in the Kid Flash uniform. It looks freaking amazing. Look it up. I'm working on putting photos up on my podcast, like, so I can talk while the photo's showing. I haven't figured out how to do that. If you know how to do that, drop it in the comment section, please. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, look up these photos of Keenan Lonsdale in the Kid Flash costume. It looks amazing. Now, another piece of news having to do with the WB DC universe, and that is John Barrowman. He plays the Dark Arrow Malcolm Merlyn on Arrow. Apparently, he signed a lucrative TV deal with WB and Warner Brothers DC, and he's going to be appearing on multiple shows throughout the universe. And I'm actually really excited about this because Malcolm Merlyn is one of my favorite characters. The actor John Barrowman is one of the best performers in the whole entire universe. Not the literal universe, but the TV universe, the WBDC TV universe. And I can't be more happy about this. I was worried for a while that they were going to either kill off the character or the actor was going to stop appearing. But according to this, he'll be around for a while, and I'm really looking forward to that. Sorry about my dog barking in the background. I got people walking in and out of the house. So that's going to do it for the comic book TV segment. Now, just really quick, I'm going to end it with my third segment, and that is the comic book segment. And so I've read, there's a lot of comics that came out this week. Holy crap, I'm not even done reading. I still have I have Green Arrow, and I have Superman to read still. But I have read quite a few, and let's go into it. So Justice League Rebirth. I freaking really enjoyed it because I'm a new comic book reader, right? And this is my first time, well, I read Justice League War, the comic book, but this is my first time as a consistent reader reading the Justice League, and I really liked it. Just seeing the team together was really awesome. And then I read Batman #2. I'm loving the Batman Rebirth line. I'm loving it. He's dealing with some new characters, and he just does some really badass Batman stuff. So I really recommend Batman #2. It's one of my favorite comics I'm reading right now, or the whole Batman Rebirth line. Now some Marvel stuff. I read X-Men Civil War #2, and I'm totally digging it. I'm digging the whole Civil War 2 line, and the X-Men play a huge part in it. They're really tied into what's going on in the bigger picture in the Marvel comics regarding Civil War 2, so I really recommend checking out X-Men Civil War 2. And then I read Kingpin #1, Civil War 2. This is interesting because the slogan for this was, as the heroes fight each other, the villains rise. And it made it sound very large in scope, like Kingpin is organizing a whole bunch of villains. And even the cover has dozens of villains on it. And it was just about Kingpin, which I'm fine with. I really liked it, but the cover and the slogan promised something else. Maybe it will get to that, but I do recommend reading it. It was pretty awesome. And then I also read Han Solo #2. Holy crap. So as you know, the Star Wars, or you might not know this, the Star Wars comics are canon, meaning they're relevant history in the Star Wars universe. They affect the movies and vice versa. The movies affect them. So whatever happens in the comics happened to the Han Solo in the movies, and he's in the middle of this race called the Dragon Void, and it's so awesome. I check out Han Solo #2. And so one more other comic book segment I like to do is called Comic Book Catch Up, where I read comics that didn't come out this week, but I read, and I'm gonna, I was looking forward to reading them, but I couldn't catch them the week that they came out. And this one came out months ago, but I read Poe Dameron #1, and same with Han Solo. It's canon, so if you want to learn more about Poe Dameron and stuff leading up to The Force Awakens, I really recommend reading Poe Dameron #1. Sticking in the Star Wars world, Star Wars number 20. Now, you don't have to have read any of the Star Wars line up until this point, because this is kind of a spin-off story revolving around Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine watching over Luke. So if you want to learn a little side story on what Obi-Wan was doing when he was watching over Luke on Tatooine, I think Luke is he's in between ages 13 and 15 in this comic book, just to give you some perspective of where it's at. So if you're interested in that and you're wondering what Obi-Wan was doing, check that out for sure. And going back to Power Rangers, I just read Power Rangers number 4. It came out a couple weeks ago. And I'm so lucky to be a fan of Power Rangers and get these comic books, because it's such a realistic take on the same characters from the TV show. Now, I know that the movie's going to be probably even more realistic. And I say realistic in the sense that it's not so cheesy and over the top and comedic, like obviously like the TV show was. It's more grounded in the tone. The tone is more grounded. So I really liked it. My only issue is that it revolves around Tommy too much, the Green Ranger, and I'm cool with that, but just call it a Green Ranger comic book. But I'm hoping they take a step back from that and focus more on the Rangers as a team. But other than that, if you're a Power Rangers fan, I definitely read all of the Power Rangers comics that have come out so far. Issue 0 through 4, and then read the Power Rangers Pink. They're all great, in my opinion, and they fulfill my need for new Power Rangers stuff as a Power Rangers fan until the movie comes out and while I watch the TV show. Alright, well, I know I kind of rushed through this podcast. It's because I have people that I live with, and I got to make sure I finish up before I get home. But thank you all for listening again. Like I said, I'm going to try to do this Comic Hero Talk official podcast once a week, if not every other week, twice a month. But I do my Comic Spoilers Talk podcast once a week, because I need to review the comics that I read each week, and that should be up either tomorrow or Thursday. And again, it's from the comics that came out this past Wednesday, not the current Wednesday. So anyways, thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm Jacob Bartley. You can find me on Twitter at @JacobBartley_, on my movie news YouTube channel, or not just movie news, but movie YouTube channel, Apocalypse Movies, and on this Comic Hero Talk YouTube channel. Please subscribe, hit that like button, hit me up in the comment section, let me know what you thought of anything I talked about today, and until next time, take care.